Are these trends, are these regulation, are these rules long overdue, you think?
Yes and no. On the one hand, Chinese regulatory authorities have investigated these tech companies before, but these are not easy cases. I mean, because antitrust also is a very technical area of law that involves a lot of economic assessment. So antitrust as a tool, as a regulatory tool, is quite clumsy to use. And that's why in previous investigations, they tend to prefer to use other regulatory tools like the anti-unfair competition law or the e-commerce law to investigate those cases. So it's not like they haven't done anything with the tech sector before. And I also say no. It's like, query why there hasn't been any large antitrust investigation yet. So that might speak about the mindset of some of the authorities, because they are quite cautious and tolerant of the growth of this sector.
Can you give us an idea of what these new rules will look like eventually at the end? What do you think, what shape and form it will take?
Well, I mean, these guidelines are at the public consultation stage, and as you mentioned, and so a lot of the details remain to be finalized, and we don't know yet when they're going to promulgate the new rules. And by the way, the new rules are only guidelines, so they're not law, so they're not changing existing regulatory framework. So they're just guidance for the authorities and businesses as to how to comply with this area of law. So, and there are two things to bear in mind when we think about the potential effects of the law. Because the first thing is like this kind of investigation usually involves a lengthy process. Mm-hmm. So it could take a long time for an agency to complete an investigation. And, the last big case that they brought against Tetra Pak took almost 5 years to complete. Mm-hmm. Another thing is that, as I mentioned in my forthcoming book, Chinese Antitrust Exceptionalism, is that Chinese agencies are very thinly staffed. So for them to bring any big cases against these tech giants will consume a lot of time and human resource. So we shouldn't expect kind of like a sudden explosion of cases against these online platforms. But of course, competitors cannot still launch these cases in court, and we have seen cases filed in courts before, but so far we haven't seen any plaintiff successfully launch any case, any antitrust case against these online platforms. And these guidelines are not binding on the Chinese court either, so it remains to be seen how the judges will interpret those issues.